YouTubers, day, evening, night. How we all doing? Pacific Islander gangs in Sydney and in jail. Mostly we're going to talk about I guess the Samoans and Tongans probably more dominant. Even though there's probably more Kiwis and Maoris. Some of them tend to have backgrounds of Tongan or Samoan. They tend to veer that way. There is also some Maori crews that were established or. Yeah. Anyway, so the two main ones, like obviously there's going to be other ones. Oh, what about this crew? What about that crew? Some smaller crews or crews that aren't from my area. So if you're from my area and if you know. So the first big one that comes to mind from outside would be UTB, United Tongan Brothers. Big back then, big back in the day. A lot of Tongans, a lot of people would have been worried. Imagine a fucking bunch of Tongans rocking up, like fucking. You know what I mean? Like, big hard heads, fucking big ass fists, big boys, like all that shit, And I don't think they're worried about getting into a blue. Like, look at the size of them, It'd be like, fighting a kid to them. Anyway, so yeah, United Tongan Brothers had the Tafahimas and a few, like, staunch boys in there. When I met them, I was best mates with Philly Tafahima, so there was Oscar and John, who were at the top, who were UTB. Then Philly Tafahima, the next brother down, which was my age. So, yeah, several other brothers after that. Bui, Mana, Vita, Amphi, Stan, like a lot of them. So, yeah, me and Philly were best friends. So we I didn't have too much to do with Oscar and John, just heard a lot about them, met them a few times. They were hardly ever there because they were always in the cross selling and whatever, had their boys running around for them. But they had a good crew, had a good staunch crew. We were running around with Singwara at the time, Asians, which was good because anytime we had dramas in the city, we'd ring his brothers and we'd ring Singwara. And then all these Tongans and all these Asians would come and we'd fill the fucking street. Made me feel like a mad cunt, especially being Aussie. Like, if you're Aussie in Sydney and, there's not many Aussies that get into gangs or get into stuff where everyone's rocking up for them, So it's like, yeah, you got to be pretty loopy, which, they helped me steer me down that path. That's 100. So Tongans were pretty big. I went to school with, this is another guy you will know, Pika, Peter Vausu, his brother Henry, Peter and Henry, whoever you want to call them. So I went to school with Pika, me, Viliami, who was the next brother down from Philly, but he was the grade under us. Me and Pika were in the same grade at Kenley Vale Tutorial. This is after I got kicked out of Marylands High, got kicked out of Pendle Hill High, went to Kenley Vale Tutorial, Pika come along, so me and Pika were there, a couple of other boys, not many, like out of 50 students, I think they held. There was, and this was just at a house. I think there was like 5 or 6 of us that weren't Asian. The rest were Asian, They didn't care if we smoked weed, like all that. I'll talk about that another day. But anyway, we'll get on to the Islander stuff. Pika saved me a couple of times and I seen him have a couple of fights and that with Assyrian Kings. And I didn't really know him that well because I was from Parramatta, Auburn City, like along that line. So this is going down the other way, Fairfield, Livo, or that line, So once I met him, I just thought, oh, he's a cool bloke, started hanging around with him and that. But then once I got to meet other people, I realised, oh, fuck, he's got a pretty big name, this guy around this area. Like, everyone respects him a lot. And you know what? He'll have a fucking go all the time, this guy. Could punch on, could bang. Obviously, became a lot better when he got to jail. Got a lot bigger too, like fucking tank, So I seen him punch on a lot. We used to go take off to the city all the time from things. Because I was a little pretty boy when I was younger, so Pika would always get these girls and ring me up. Oh, Nave, I'll get these girls out. Fucking, just come. They want you to come. I'm like, yeah, sweet. So me and Pika would take off from everyone. He'd always be like, don't tell anyone, He'd be like, he'd just want us two to go and like take all these girls out. So we would. Went to a couple of Year 10 formals with him and that. Anyway, Pika was a mad cunt, He was really good, really genuine bloke. But you get that a lot with people that can fight and people that have a lot of power. Tend to be very nice people, tend to be very genuine, and it's because they've got nothing to prove and they're not worried about you, they're not worried about anyone, they know they'll have a go. It's the ones that walk around with that, doing this and fucking, hey, what'd you say, or fucking trying to intimidate people, they're the ones that really are trying to grow a backbone or trying to make a name for themselves and aren't really confident in themselves. So yeah, anyway, Pika ends up making a gang called BNS, Bloods Never Surrender, Samoans. We were all good mates before that. Like, I was best mates with Philly, but still good mates with Pika. Pika one day rocks up from come from Para out to Auburn to Philly's house. So this is sort of when Picker started it. Philly found out he started it. Wasn't too impressed, obviously, because his brother runs UTB. You know, the United Tongan brothers, and now the Samoans are making a gang. He come out and asked us to back up, which we always backed each other up. Whenever there was dramas, I could call Picker and Philly. They'd all grab, you know, Tongans, Samoans, fucking Asians, whatever. They'd all rock up, you know. They'd always call each other. We'd always be rocking up together. Anyway, he come out that day, Tattoo Nation. Yeah, so I think it's a, I'm not going to say the club, but it's an MC owner in Parramatta. He's come out and goes, he's like knocked on the door. I've entered the door. He's there and he's like, oh, Paddo, oi, can you and Philly come, boys? We got a big fight, you know. Fucking, we were like 16, 17 at the time. We're going to fight bikies. But this is how fucking, you know, when you're with the Asians and the Tongans, bro, they didn't give a fuck about bikes and that. This is where it all started to kick off, you know. I think that years before that, people would have cared, but they were just crazy, you know. Yeah, so he's knocked on the door. I said, yeah, fucking oath, bro, I'll go grab Philly, because it was just natural that I'd think, yes, go to grab Philly. He's like, no, we're not going. Wouldn't even come to the door to town. So I've got to go tell my good mate now that we're not coming to back him up. And it's sort of, you know, I was just like, fuck, sorry, bro. We're not coming. Like, what could I say, you know? I didn't want to start drama between them. But, you know, obviously I knew Pick would be dirty at me for that. Yeah, so them two crews started. BNS got pretty big pretty quickly. Picker ended up getting locked up. Philly ends up getting locked. They all get locked up, you know. United Tongan brothers sort of fell out. Oscar and John had this dude, right? So this dude, Victor, me and Philly used to call him Turtle. What he did was he tried to set me up to the prick, because we used to call him Turtle and laugh, and he hated it. Because every time we see him, he'd have his backpack on with all his clothes and shit. And it was like his, that was his home, we said. We go, bro, is that your home? Like, why you always got all your shit in your backpack? Walking around with the backpack on, Turtle. So that's where he got the Turtle from, because he had his home on his back. Yeah, like people walking around with backpacks all the time. Come on, bro, we're not in school. Unless it's your home. Anyway, he goes out to the city. He ends up wearing it. I don't know if it was John or Oscar's. I think it was John's shorts, actually. Yeah, it was John's shorts, because he's the one that interrogated me. He puts the shorts on, right? Fucking puts the shorts on, goes out, sells a few caps for them or whatever, comes back in. John wakes up, looks at me, he's got his fucking shorts on, right? He's like, where the fuck do you get them from, bro? You know, these cunts are fucking nuts, going through a lot of drugs and whatever, you know, running a crew and all this shit. Old mate says to him, oh, fucking, actually, they tied him to a chair. Arthur, John, Oscar, right? Tied him to a chair, fucking started chopping his fucking eyelids, ears, all that with scissors and shit. Like, pretty crazy story. Had him strapped to the chair. He says to them, oh, Nathan, Philly's friend, Philly, because he fucking hates me, you know. So he's like, oh, I'm fucking like 16 years old, mate. What are you doing? Anyway, he goes, tells him it was me. Did you see that little thing? I have to do it that side now. Yeah, tells him it was me. Like, what the fuck, bro? Why would I have John's shorts, bro? What the fuck are you talking about? Yeah, so anyway, he gets, John goes out. Oscar was asleep, I think, and then Arthur had gone and got a prosy. He was rooting her. Anyway, this dude jumps off a second-story building, goes down, gets to the police station. They come raid it, everything. John's on the run. John's on the run for a couple of weeks, right? They actually raided when I was there and John was there. And the way he wakes up, his face all puffy and his hair out like this, he gave him his cousin's name and they left. Like fucking crazy. They raided through, didn't ask me my name. You know what they said? They go, oh, he's white. That's literally what they said. Anyway, he gets me in the room one day and goes, oh, you Nathan, rah, rah. I'm like, yeah. His mum, Helen, she loved me, you know. So Helen's like, oi, fucking, John, no. Because she knew, she could see the look in his eye. Philly comes in and goes, don't worry, bro, I got you, you know. He's like, sit down. So I sit down. Philly's on this side, John's there. But this is his brother. So I'm like, fuck, does he? Does he have my back? Bro, John gets up, goes to talk to his mum, because his mum's telling him, don't you fucking touch that boy, you know. Philly goes, don't worry. Pulls out a fucking blade like that, like in his hands. I'm like, what the fuck, bro? Like, why the fuck you got a blade there? Thinking, fuck, man, I hope that's not going in me. Anyway, he comes back in. He's like, bro, tell me now. You took my shorts, fucking all this shit. I'm thinking, fuck. I was like, no, bro. I was like, I got my own clothes, bro. Why would I have your shorts? He's gone, he told me you took my shorts, all this shit, you know. Like the smallest thing, you know. But people get their pride really affected, you know. And I'm the same. Someone steals 10 cents off me, fucking, yeah. It doesn't matter how much you stole. Like, you fucking want to steal off me. It's about the stealing thing. Anyway, I kept denying it, and he was getting dirty, you know, and he's like, mate, I'll give you one more fucking chance. I'm going to jump up and put your head through that speaker over there. There was this big speaker in the corner, like, they had this system set up. I'm sitting on the couch. I'm like, bro, this is fucking this is Susan Street at Auburn. If anyone knows that house, a lot of people would. I'm like, bro, I was like, I swear, no, didn't touch him ever. And he just looked at me, and I think he realised I was telling the truth, and he's like, get the fuck out, So me and Philly left. Yeah, it was pretty freaky time. Anyway, they got done for that. Went in, come out after a couple of years. This is when they got done shooting the cop, So, big story. They go in, right? And then, so, yeah, all these fucking shit starts. That was pretty much the end of UTB. Once they got locked up and got that big whack, UTB sort of went down. Picker was in and all that, and they've started a few crews. In jail, they had this big crew, Islanders, TLC, Thug Life Crew. Thug Life Crew. Also the TLC stood for Tigers, Lions and Crows. So the Crows were the Maoris, the Tigers were the Samoans, and the Lions were the Tongans. And this was pretty hectic because they all joined forces. And you know how much like fucking staunch that brings and power that brings? Like to have all three of these, like now they're split and warring and whatever, They ended up taking each other out, like the trumps of each Tiger, Lion, Crow. And they had different jobs. You know what I mean? Like I think the Crows would run around and do all the fucking like selling and fucking whatever else. Yeah, someone would be bringing it in and the others would be organising it and fucking taking people out or whatever, That's how they set it up. They set it up very smart. They'd come out in the morning, they'd all train together. They'd all have to train and fucking do this. So they were like a little army at Goulburn, and when they'd go to other jails, it was like, people would fear them. Very strong crew. When they went in their prime, mate, very, very strong crew. Anyway, they started taking each other out, all split up, rah. So then now we got more Polynesian gangs popping up, because what happens is when a crew jumps out, a crew tries to jump in and take the power. Picker has Bloodline now in jail, different gang. There's Samoans and that. OC, they've got a few different islanders in there, to be honest. Outcast, OC. I don't know what the C stands for, but Outcast is one word. So I don't know where that came from, but it's O, unless we're going by syllables now. But Outcast, yeah. They got a lot of boys, done a few big moves, done a few big moves in there. They're still popping off. Bloodline's still going strong. There is a few other ones, like few other ones, like what is it? F2F, 2FS, something like that. Start to finish, S2F. So that I've heard about, but I don't know much about them to say anything about them. Yeah, so OC, Franny was running that. I don't know if he still is or if he's talking to you. I seen him on the Current Affairs, but he was saying he was doing all this church shit, but then looked like he was selling out his window at the same time. So I don't know, bro. I don't know what he's doing, but he was doing that on TV, so I doubt he was. That'd be pretty fucking stupid. Yeah, Picker, Henry, still very, very prominent names. They have, they often go to war and all that. Baz Kavanagh for the Maoris, fucking big, big staunch bloke. Not massive, but very staunch. He's probably, I think he's a tiny bit taller than me. I was in the gang unit with him. But anyway, he's a little bit taller than me. But he makes big moves too, big moves. Made a big name for himself just from being a fucking psychopath, pretty much. Picker, Henry, both can fight, both big boys. I don't think anybody would want to fight them one-on-one. It would be a silly move. I know people have, obviously, in the past, but yeah, I think they fucking did that. Not the smartest thing to do. Yeah. So apart from all them, the Tafahimas, the two older ones, have been deported. Got all their brothers have grown up. Got a couple of sisters. Obviously, they're gonna have kids and whatever else. But they were a very, very staunch family. You'd never see them back down or fucking anything. Probably out of all the families, the Tafahimas were easily the biggest name in Sydney when it comes to Islanders. Yeah. There's some Fijian boys in that, Lessies, like fucking... Yeah, so a lot of staunch Islander crews. A lot of them have gone over to bikies and stuff like that, but not Picker in that, not the Tafahimas. So, yeah, that's what it is. Polynesian gangs in Sydney, crazy fucking gangs, big boys. A lot of them can fight, will fight. And, imagine they were still like TLC where they joined back together. They like got You know, all these crews have good power, but imagine them getting back together. Sometimes it's about swallowing your pride. You know, the first nationality to do that is going to be the one that takes all the power. Obviously, the Lebos fight each other, Islanders fight each other, Kiwis fight each other. Aussies don't know what they're doing. So yeah, have a good day, everyone. Love you all. Don't go to jail. You just don't want to be on the wrong side of them guys. Love you all. You can go now.